In global politics, a new act is unfolding, not of a single superpower, but of two giants converging, Russia and China. Their leaders, Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, are not just shaking hands for the cameras, they are forging a partnership that could alter the course of history. This is not a fleeting alliance, but a calculated move to challenge the status quo and reshape the global balance of power. From the icy expanse of the Arctic to the oil-rich fields of Venezuela, their partnership is reaching into regions once dominated by Western influence. Together, they are challenging the US-led order that has shaped international relations for generations, seeking to carve out new spheres of influence and redefine what global leadership means in the 21st century. Moscow and Beijing are building parallel systems in finance, technology, and security, creating an ecosystem increasingly independent of the West. They are investing in alternative payment networks, developing their own digital currencies, and advancing cutting-edge technologies. This new infrastructure is designed to withstand sanctions and external pressures, making their economies more resilient and interconnected. This alignment is forcing nations around the world to reconsider their loyalties, redrawing alliances and fault lines for the 21st century. Countries are weighing the benefits of closer ties with Russia and China against the risks of alienating the West, leading to a complex and rapidly evolving diplomatic landscape. Russia now sends its vast reserves of energy eastward to fuel China's booming industries, while China, in turn, offers advanced technology and a massive market for Russian goods. This economic interdependence is deepening, with new trade routes and infrastructure projects linking the two countries more closely than ever before. Their joint military exercises and diplomatic coordination are more than symbolic. They signal a new era of global competition. By presenting a united front, Russia and China are sending a clear message to the world. They are ready to defend their interests and challenge any attempts to contain their rise. This is more than convenience. It's a symbiotic relationship that is actively rewriting the rules of the game. Their cooperation spans energy, technology, defense, and diplomacy, making them formidable partners on the world stage. The question remains, is this partnership an unstoppable force destined to reshape the world order, or a fragile alliance with hidden cracks that could one day split apart? Only time will reveal the true strength of this new axis of power. To understand today's alliance, we must revisit the turbulent history between Russia and China. Their relationship has been a roller coaster of camaraderie, conflict, and cautious cooperation. Once communist comrades, they split in the 1960s, nearly going to war over border disputes. The ideological rift was deep, and the border clashes were intense. For decades, suspicion defined their relationship, with the West exploiting their rivalry. The Cold War era saw both nations wary of each other, even as they faced common adversaries. The collapse of the Soviet Union widened the gap, as Russia looked west and China focused on growth. Russia's economic struggles contrasted sharply with China's rapid development, but the 21st century brought a pragmatic thaw, driven by shared unease over American dominance. Both nations saw the benefit of a strategic partnership in countering U.S. influence. They settled borders, coordinated at the UN, and began to align against the West. This newfound cooperation marked a significant shift in their international strategies. The real turning point was Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine. Western sanctions pushed Moscow into Beijing's arms. The geopolitical landscape was dramatically altered. China seized the opportunity, gaining a resource-rich partner and cheap energy. This economic interdependence strengthened their bond. The invasion didn't create the partnership, but it supercharged it, turning a slow drift into a powerful current. Their alliance now stands as a formidable force on the global stage. The modern Russia-China partnership was cemented just before the Ukraine war, in a moment that would reshape the global balance of power for years to come. When Putin and Xi declared a no-limits friendship, it sent shockwaves through diplomatic circles worldwide. This was more than a symbolic gesture. It was a public commitment to stand together, no matter the cost. This marked a bold shift from a relationship of convenience to a quasi-alliance, one that openly challenged the US-led international order and signaled a new era of great power competition. While it's not a formal military pact, the partnership is flexible and potent, allowing both countries to deepen cooperation across economics, military, and diplomacy, adapting quickly to new global realities. For Russia, this alliance is a vital shield against Western sanctions and isolation, providing economic lifelines and alternative markets when the West turns its back. For China, Russia is a strategic partner and a battering ram against Western influence, a nation willing to push back against the status quo and help carve out a new global order. Their rhetoric has only grown stronger, with both leaders openly declaring their intent to reshape the world order and to create a multipolar world where Western dominance is no longer guaranteed. Since 2022, they've pivoted energy flows eastward, de-dollarized much of their trade, and built new financial systems to bypass Western controls, making their economies more resilient. Joint military drills have intensified, with both nations showcasing their growing military cooperation and sending a clear message to the world: they are prepared to defend their interests together. Putin's first trip of his new presidential term was to Beijing, a powerful signal that China is now Russia's most important partner on the world stage. Each meeting, every handshake, and every new agreement is another brick in the foundation of this emerging bloc, making their partnership more robust and far-reaching. Together, Russia and China are building a structure designed not just to withstand Western pressure, but to project their power outward, reshaping the world in their own image, one step at a time. The most visible sign of this partnership is explosive economic growth. When the West weaponized finance against Russia, China stepped in. Trade hit $240 billion in 2023. China absorbs Russian oil and gas, while supplying goods Russia can't get from the West. Over 90% of their trade is now in rubles and yuan, directly challenging the dollar's dominance. This closed-loop system insulates them from U.S. sanctions and offers a model for other sanctioned states. China also supplies Russia with critical dual-use technology, fueling its war effort without crossing Western red lines. The relationship is increasingly asymmetrical. Russia is now the junior partner, dependent on China for markets and technology. China sets the price for Russian oil and fills the void left by Western firms. For now, strategic necessity outweighs any Russian discomfort with this dependency. Beyond economics, the partnership is now a formidable military and diplomatic bloc. Russian and Chinese forces have moved from basic exercises to complex joint operations, signaling collective strength to the U.S. and its allies. Joint patrols near Alaska and in the Pacific challenge American dominance and project power far from home. Russia provides military expertise. China brings scale and technology, collaborating on missile defense and navigation systems. Diplomatically, they act in near unison at the UN, blocking Western initiatives and shielding allies. Their state media amplify each other's narratives, creating an echo chamber of anti-Western sentiment. This information campaign targets both domestic audiences and the global South. Their coordinated front makes it difficult for the West to isolate either country. Nowhere is their convergence more alarming than in the Arctic. Melting ice is unlocking resources and new shipping routes, turning the region into a geopolitical battleground. Russia is militarizing its Arctic territory, restoring bases and deploying advanced submarines and icebreakers. China, lacking an Arctic coast, invests in Russian projects and pushes its Polar Silk Road, integrating the region into its Belt and Road network. China is rapidly expanding its icebreaking fleet and developing nuclear submarines for polar operations. Joint naval patrols now reach the Bering Sea, and hybrid warfare tactics, like cutting undersea cables, are on the rise. The combination of Russian military power and Chinese economic might threatens to lock NATO out of this vital region. The Arctic is now a central front in their global competition. The Russia-China axis is challenging the U.S. even in its own hemisphere. Venezuela is the flashpoint. Moscow and Beijing have propped up Caracas, gaining access to oil and a strategic foothold near the U.S. The Trump administration has responded with aggressive sanctions and a blockade of Venezuelan oil tankers, seizing Russian-flagged ships. The U.S. ultimatum: expel Russian and Chinese influence or face collapse, offering to manage Venezuela's oil sales as leverage. This is a high-stakes gambit to break the axis in America's backyard. For Russia and China, Venezuela is a test of their ability to protect allies and defy U.S. power. The U.S. sees foreign influence in Venezuela as a direct threat, escalating the standoff with military action. The outcome here will ripple across the globe, shaping the larger struggle. Despite appearances, the Russia-China partnership has underlying tensions. It's a pragmatic alliance, not one of shared values. Driven by opposition to the U.S., historical mistrust lingers, and their long-term interests may diverge, especially in Central Asia. The power imbalance is growing. China's economy dwarfs Russia's, making Moscow the junior partner. Russia's risk-taking contrasts with China's cautious long-term approach. China supports Russia, but stops short of lethal aid, wary of Western sanctions. The alliance is strong as long as the US is the main threat, but could fracture if interests clash or external pressure eases. Its future stability is far from guaranteed. Is the Russia-China partnership unstoppable? It's certainly the most powerful force reshaping our world. Forged in opposition to the West and supercharged by war, this axis has built a resilient economic and military ecosystem. Together, they're constructing an alternative world order, attractive to nations weary of US dominance. But they face the immovable object of American power, military, financial, and diplomatic. The US and its allies remain formidable, and recent actions show Washington won't cede ground easily. Internal contradictions, power imbalance, mistrust, competing interests are vulnerabilities the West can exploit. The coming years will be a global chess match, with the outcome far from certain. Is this partnership built to last, or will its cracks bring it down? Let us know your thoughts below.